What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. I am your host, as always, Kevin Coleman, and we're back. And they're going to have some fun today. We're going to be talking some transfer portal update. The transfer portal madness is all the rage right now. We have over 1,000 players in the transfer portal. So my plan on this is doing long shows and doing those type of things isn't really necessarily something I want to do an hour show. You guys aren't going to watch that. But I'm going to go through every position, including some defense. So Christian Williams is going to be excited for me out here. And we're just going to go over some of the top players at the positions. We're going to highlight a couple. We're highlight three, gets you some film, some game tape on these guys, and some guys that have some potential moving forward. Like, hey, they could really be movers in this thing. Okay, so let's do it. Let's dive right in. Quarterbacks. Let's look at the quarterbacks. There are so many quarterbacks in this portal, everybody, and we haven't even started yet. It's been a week. It opened Monday officially. We have, quite frankly, more quarterbacks in the portal than can fill jobs. Now, let's go through the top. So we're looking at the top 14 here. Obviously, there's guys not on here that have already signed. So Phil Jurgovich from Boston College already signed to Pittsburgh. Cade McNamara already signed to Iowa. So we have guys that have already kind of found homes. Now, some guys that haven't. Devin Leary. I think Devin Leary is the guy that's going to really he came in as a 4-star recruit. He looked really good. He was getting NFL buzz, first round buzz, all this different things. He's the guy to keep an eye on. I think he is. He has 1 year eligibility made. Notre Dame, someplace like that could really use this guy when you're looking at what he's been able to do. Now, he had to have season-ending surgery, but over those 6 games, he had 1,200 yards, 61% completion percentage, 11 touchdowns. He was 9-3 last year. He threw for 3,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. So watch where Devin Leary goes. He's a mover. Brennan Armstrong, what can Brennan be, right? 2 years ago, very good recruit, better offense. Then he went into a terrible offense and just wasn't able to do the same, right? He had 2,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. He didn't look very good, but in his career, he has over 9,000 yards, 58 passing touchdowns. Where's Brennan going to go? DJU, will he go to UCLA, right? Nick Evers is a player to keep an eye on. Former 4-star kid from Oklahoma. He went to Oklahoma. He transferred out. Where can he go? Will he go to Florida? Will he go to some of these places that maybe need a quarterback? Keep an eye on them, right? Now, the guy that I want to just kind of go through real quick, Hudson Card, Jacoby Criswell, Jeff Sims, Keaton Slovis is in the transfer portal again, Drew Pine, Graham Mertz. Tony Musker is a guy that you guys should be aware of. I think Tony's going to get a little bit of buzz as we go through here. Small school guy getting, transferring there from Monmouth. Where is he going to go? I know he's getting a little bit of buzz out there. But other guys that I didn't put in here, Donovan Smith, Jeff Sims, obviously he's on the board. Luke Altmaier, Zach Kozalda, Haynes King, like guys like that'll be interesting. But there is a guy that we want to highlight. So our player spotlight this time, Kyron Drones. Now he's ranked a little bit lower on some of the on 3, some of those guys. But Kyron Drones from Baylor is someone that I've been very high on. 4-star kid out of Pearland, Texas, came in as the 15th ranked recruit. 16th in 247 Sports, 15th in Rivals. Like when you're looking at what he's been able to do in high school, he was fantastic. He hasn't gotten an opportunity in Baylor, and he decided, hey, I'm going to take my talents elsewhere. But when you watch his tape in high school, so we're going to throw in his film and just talk about him for a little bit. He's a dual threat kid, man. He was a lot of fun to watch. He led his team to a 16-0 record his junior year. Total dual threat too. And I think he has the arm strength. When you watch what he's able to do, I'm surprised Baylor didn't give him more run, especially at that quarterback position. I really feel like he would have elevated that offense a little bit more. I really think he's the underrated player in this portal. If Drones can go somewhere where he can compete for that starting job and he can kind of do that. Now, he's a Texas kid, and there's been rumors that it's TCU. So some people have talked about Drones going to TCU and being in that offense. And I think that is interesting with Duggan leaving. We're seeing that quarterback battle, go in there, compete for that battle, and go compete for that starting job. He is the guy to watch in all formats. Devy, C2C, those type of things. I really feel like he's the guy to watch in there, gets it across his body, able to kind of his functional athleticism on the outside, gets it there. And he can do that. And he has pretty effortless release. When you watch him play, he does that. But his upside as a passer and a rusher, I think, is where you get excited for him in fantasy, right? When we're talking about that. But I just like this kid, what he's able to do. Look at that arm strength go over the middle. I just don't think they gave him the shot. Now, if he goes to TCU, Dykes, those type of things, he can kind of elevate his game a little bit. He's a big kid, too. So when we're looking at his size, frame, 6'2", 195, we're not talking about a small guy, dual threat kid. This is what excites me about him as a prospect, and you'll see that. And you'll see it here. Able to kind of score and do those type of things. So Kyron Drones is a guy to keep watching. Now, let's go to the running backs. So let's look at the running backs and what they've been able to do. Now, top 14 guys. There's a lot of guys in the running backs. No huge names yet. So Blake Watson, Carson Steele, Sean Tyler, interesting kind of area. Western Michigan kid, where's he going to go? Nathan Carter, he's kind of going to UMass, it looks like, but not for sure. Ramon Davis is out there again. Obviously Vanderbilt didn't work out for him. Now he's moving on to his third school. Titus Swin highlighted there. Where's he going to go? Kind of got kicked off the team, but he has a lot of talent. We saw him do very well at Wyoming. Trey Sanders, obviously Alabama didn't work out. Where are they going to go? LJ Johnson, the guys we're going to talk about later. Kobe Pace, looking at what these guys do, where are they going to be? Like in terms of like projecting them and where they're at. Now, the guy that we want to highlight. So some of the guys that we talked about in this running back class, the player spotlight for me in this class is a guy that some people have missed on. That's LJ Johnson from Texas A&M. 5'10", 205, 210, 215, depending on like where you look at. He's a big kid. He came in as the running back 5 in this position in terms of his running back position. He was a highly sought after running back recruit. In Texas A&M, when they got him, fans were excited about this kid, but he never elevated. He never got the playing time. He just never got the run. And in Texas A&M offense, we've seen these position players just not do very good. But when you watch his tape in high school, you could see why he was one of the better recruits. In 6A, he played 6A ball, 2,000 yards rushing. When you're looking at him, his career, he was a phenomenal runner. He ran through that competition, and you'll see it here. Just downhill guy. Like, we're not talking about nuanced athleticism, but downhill going. He's one of the best players in high school. That's why he was a top 5 guy in a pretty loaded running back class when we're talking about the class that he came into, right? So consensus-wise, he was right there. Now, he's a redshirt freshman, obviously. So when we're talking about his recruiting and where he's at, like as a redshirt freshman, he's still got those 3 or 4 years eligibility. He got offered by Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, LSU. Like, he was getting offered by pretty much every school in the country was offering this kid. I think that when he takes that next step, we're going to be talking about LJ. Now, obviously, he hasn't done that. Athleticism is a question mark. Production, what was going on in that team. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of that bad that Texas A&M offense has been, and just that Texas A&M team in general. See how many people in the portal, they lost their kicker, they lost all these guys. Like, what is coming next for LJ? And I think he's a guy to keep your eye on just because of the recruit status, right? When we're talking about guys that have transferred, we see these running backs, these high 5-star guys. Those are the guys you're looking at. Now, let's go to wide receivers. Let's take a look at who's out there. Tons of wide receivers on the board here. So Ali Jennings, I think, is a guy that obviously we need to highlight here. 6'2", 186 from Old Dominion. He's a very, very good prospect. Right now, looking at like Duke, Virginia Tech, maybe in that area, just because I think that's where they see the status at. He's an interesting one. Dominic Lovett. He's really good for Missouri. Like when he's just talking about what he was able to do. And just his prospects wise, like I'm surprised he kind of entered, but obviously he sees himself as a guy to being that guy. Now, he finished his time with Missouri as 1,000 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. He has a rushing touchdown. Like, I think he's a first-team All-SEC wide receiver. He could be interesting. North Carolina needs wide receivers. So we're talking about, like, guys that need it with Drake May. Drake May came out today, said he's not transferring. They need to go get guys. He would be an interesting add there just based on his size, his frame, what he was coming in. He had offers to Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, all those places, West Virginia, Purdue, Penn State. We've seen it all, right? So this kid really could go anywhere there. Dorian Singer, Andrew Armstrong, JoJo Earl, who we're going to highlight. Dante Cephas has tons of offers from what we've heard. Malik Washington's underrated receiver from Northwestern. So Trayshawn Holden. So we're looking through the list. Tyrese Chambers. Keep an eye on Tyrese. And another guy that's not on the list, but I do want to talk about this too. Dante Thornton from Oregon. Hey, he was one of the better recruits coming out, wide receiver 10 in this class. He did not really pan out in terms of like what he was at Oregon. He never really got the opportunity. 6'5", 185 kid. Penn State is a school to watch for him, for Dante Thornton. And then, hey, got to give a shout out to, as we're looking through the list, Deshaun Stribling. Like, Stribling was at Washington State. They see Donovan Ollie's also transferring, so the Washington State lost some wide receivers there. But Stribling's a guy who did pretty well in the Pac-12. Where could he go? That's kind of the run that you have to look at. Now, for player spotlight for the wide receivers, we're going to look at one guy, and that's my guy JoJo. JoJo Earl he just hasn't been used, right? So he's ended up playing 8 games and 5 starts for Alabama. He racked up 12 receptions, 155 yards, and 2 scores. That's it. Like, they just haven't used him in the right way. Now, when you watch his tape, when I watched him and broke him down a couple years ago, it was so fun to watch. You're going to watch it here. I mean, his ability to kind of extend plays, athleticism, speed. And we're not talking about a small guy. Like 5'10", 175, he's not small. Like, he's not a gadget guy. Yeah, we'd like him to get to 180, 185. Yeah, we know that. But his frame is compact enough where he's going to be able to do that. They line him up in the backfield. He was one of the best players in high school football. And that's why he had all the offers that he had. He was a wide receiver 6 of that class. I think when you're looking at Bill O'Brien's offense and what he's done, he did a terrible job. I'm going to be honest with everybody out there. They didn't use him in any way. Like, they just use him on the outside. That was really what they did. Like, that's all they did there. They tried to use him in a slot a little bit. He got injured because Saban just consistently gets his guys injured on punt off and punt return and kick return. But JoJo's a type of kid that can actually make a difference anywhere he goes. Now, there are rumors that JoJo's thinking about TCU. Texas kid, again, TCU, man. I mean, they're out there. You look at what they're doing in Texas. They love that offense with Sonny Dykes. Quentin Johnston's probably moving on. So we're thinking, okay, could they be that next guy stepping forward? I think JoJo would fit very well in that offense. Just look at that play. Whoop, right? Like little Chris Berman status. He can do these types of things. JoJo is a ton of fun to watch on tape. You'll see it here on the outside too, but I do think that he's going to be able to play a little bit more on the inside. But making guys miss, that yak ability, like, JoJo's the type of kid that you need to go find, see where he goes, and then you're going to buy on this because he's really low right now. So in Devy, Dynasty, C2C, those type of things, go see if you can go find JoJo, and then you can take advantage of that. Now, tight ends. Let's go to tight ends now. Not a ton of tight ends on the market. Like, well, there are a ton of tight ends, but I wouldn't say highlight great tight ends, right? So let's just look at the top 5, and then we'll talk about some other guys as we get in there. Jaheim Bell, South Carolina guy, like, hey, 6'2", 207. I think he's a little undersized for position, but he has played very well. We've seen him. There's some rumors because he kind of tweeted about going to Colorado. That's kind of an area to look. Can he go over there with Dion and see, like, hey, what is he, right? Can he kind of set in that offense? We just did a Shedeur Sanders video. Go check that out. Let me know what you think about that one. When we're talking about Sanders and we're talking about kind of what he's been able to do, he needs a guy like Bell. He needs that kind of that outlet, right? Bell could be that guy, and he comes in as a higher rated recruit as a transfer portal guy than he did before. Rivaldo with Fairweather is the guy I want everybody to know about. We're going to highlight him, so I'm going to talk about him here in a minute. But hey, 6'5", 210, like, he's very, very good. Florida International. He's a very good recruit, and he's a very good player. Round out top 5, CJ Dupree from Maryland, didn't really get a run in there. Eric All has just been injured from Michigan. Looks like he's probably going to go to Iowa with Cade McNamara. Kyle Morlock, hey, where's he going to go in terms of, is it going to be Auburn? Is it going to be Tennessee? I don't know. AJ Barner's out there. Austin Stogner's out there. If you don't remember him, old Oklahoma guy, they went to South Carolina. Like, there's guys out there that could be transferring, going into these different type of places. So it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of tight ends on that market. But let's do some player spotlight. So Rivaldo. Hey, just to mention him a little bit, what he was able to do, 400 yards. He had 3 touchdowns in one game. He just hasn't got the usage. The 2 games that they scored over 20 points, Rivaldo got in the end zone and they targeted him, right? So when we're thinking of what he can do, he has that ability. He has that talent. Like, and he got it. He got an in-home transfer, offer from Auburn. Again, that's more like, great, where, he's from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but he loves that kind of, I'm loving Auburn is what he came out there. I think he's their key target there. I think that's an interesting spot for him because especially in that new offense, what they're trying to do with Hugh Freeze, like, I think that is probably where he's going to end up. He's good size, good frame. He's a guy to go get. C2C wise, Devy, those type of things. Like, go see if you can kind of kick the tires on him, depending on the league status. I really like Rivaldo, and I think he can make a big impact next year, especially because he did it for Florida and that, when they were bad. Like, FIU was bad this year, and so Rivaldo was their best player. Now we're gonna jump into the other parts of the portal, just kind of go over it. Some top offensive linemen, because there's a offensive line problem in college football. Now I put a tackle or interior offensive line next to their name so you can kind of know. Some guys have already kind of committed and all that, but Johnny Cornelius from Rhode Island, he is the best offensive tackle. He's rated as a 96 right now. Hey, where's he going to go is the question mark. Syracuse is in there. Iowa State, I see. Like, there's some other schools there. He's predominantly, like, he signed with Rhode Island. He led his team to back-to-back state championships. He's committed. He started 22 games in 21 and 22. You see what he's been able to do. Took over right tackle, took over left tackle. He entered the transfer portal. He has 3 years of eligibility remaining, right? So he's one of the most sought-after tackles of this class when you're looking at just what he's able to do. Jeremiah Byers, he's looking at UTSA or Texas Tech. He's a UTEP transfer. Then on the flip side, when you're looking at just interior offensive linemen, Spencer Hostlers is on there. Purdue, 6'5", 275 kid, big kid, rated 91 rating right now. I think he's a guy to look at. Stanford transfer, Drake Nugent, senior. Looks like he's a grad transfer, 90 rating. And then you also have Gunner. And I think there's some good areas in here. Gunner Britton, West Kentucky transfer, undecided right now, but take a look at there. Now, let's get into the defensive side. Now, mix your little edge and defensive linemen. Edge-wise, Andre Carter's the go guy. He's the guy that everybody's kind of trying to get right now. When you're looking at what he's able to do at Western Michigan, he played in 4 games, 2018, 2019. He recorded 23 tackles, 5.5 tackles, 2.5 sacks. This year, he had his breakout. 68 tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. He was the guy, earned second-team All-MAC. he is the most sought after guy right now. Iowa State, Ole Miss, kind of. That's where they're looking at. He's from Detroit, Michigan. I think that he's a guy to keep an eye on there. Adelay Tunemes, I'm going to mess that up. 4 or 5-star kid from Texas A&M. He transferred. TCU's on the big board. So is SMU. So you're looking at, hey, what can he do from Katy, Texas? Those guys love those TCU recruits. So when you're looking at that, defensive line wise, Braden Fisk, a big boy, Western Michigan as well. Notre Dame is pretty much on their big list there from Michigan City, Indiana. Jacob Lacey, he went to Oklahoma. That's why I didn't put him on here. So it looks like he's committed there. Thomas Gore, looking at what he's able to do. Georgia State, he's undeclared. Big kid, 6', 280. He's one of the gets in the defensive line row. Now we're going to linebackers to kind of wrap up this. Jason McCullough, I'm going to mispronounce this. McCullough is looking like he's the guy. Indiana to Oklahoma is where he's getting projected right now. Oklahoma needs some help there. If he can be that guy there, that's what you're looking for. Other guys, Mason Cobb, Oklahoma State kid. You're looking at Clayton Smith. Again, Oklahoma, where's he transferring to? And then, Wyoming kid here. Oluwaze, I think is how you say it. Man, I'm going to get killed in the comments. I'm sorry, but redshirt freshman, he's looked really, really good for Wyoming. When you're just looking at what he's been able to put in the numbers, like he's there. Virginia Tech's up there. Appalachian State is also up there. We're looking at a 3-star kid that's been able to compete. Like he's looked really good, and I think that he's going to be ranked pretty high there. And then as you go through there's your linebackers. Now, last one, secondary. Sadly, Ventrell looks like he's going to go to Ohio State. So it looks like, hey, top-rated cornerback in this class so far in the transfer portal from Virginia. He's looked really good this last couple. When you're looking at what he's been able to do this last year, 2020, in 2020 he had 6 starts, 17 tackles. When you look at what he was able to do, interception. 2022, he had 29 tackles. He led the ACC with 14 pass breakups. And you know what? They need him. Ohio State needs a corner. If they can go out there and attack him and get him, like that's a huge get for them. And as far as safeties right now, Denver Harris is a freshman from A&M. Didn't really play too much. He's a 5-star prospect. He entered the transfer 2022 season. He had 14 tackles, 3 pass deflections. He's the guy when you're looking at what he's able to do. He's going to get offers everywhere. Michigan, some other places that we've seen. It'll be interesting where Denver goes. There's some solid cornerbacks and safeties in this class there. So just let's go through the list real quick. Here are your quarterbacks, your running backs, your wide receivers, your tight ends. And then here are all the places we just went over: linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, safeties, and secondary. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. What do you want these guys to go? What do you think? Where does Brendan Armstrong go? What makes sense? Will Notre Dame be in there? Like, give us some highlights here. What do you think Devin Leary should go? Have you heard of Kyron Jones before? What do you think about these prospects and these players? Do you still believe in LJ Johnson, or you think that's past, right? Are we still holding out hope that's not going to be there? So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hit that like and subscribe button. It's real easy. Like, subscribe, helps us out, helps us allow us to create this content for you guys, and allows me to keep rolling with you guys. So I appreciate you guys. I'll check you guys next time.